get this started. Okay, Boker Tov. We start today in the Yerushalmi on Perek Aleph Halacha Bet, the top of Hey Amud Aleph, and it's we're still in the middle of Ibur Shana. We just dealt with the issues about the various factors that allow them to add the extra month and the formal declaration in this sort of Palestinian Aramaic that we had in the name of Rabbi Gamliel, and now we're going to continue and see very much paralleling what we did. Part of what we did yesterday in the Bavli and part of what we'll be doing today. So it's 4 lines from the top on Hey Amud Aleph. Tani, I'm reviewed it. Ma'aseh Rabbi Gamliel was a Kanim, story with Rabbi Gamliel and the elders. Notice, by the way, this mentions the elders. I do not believe that was mentioned in the Bavli. There's going to be the declaration that says it appears proper to us and to our colleagues. Remember that the Bavli had that whole point that he mentioned our colleagues. So it's interesting that this starts with a story with Rabbi Gamliel and the elders. They were on a step on the Har Bayit. The Yochanan Sofer Halaz Yoshev Liftehem, and Yochanan was the scribe was sitting in front of them. Amalei Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel said to him, "Ksov, write the following: La'achana b'nei Droma Ilav, La'achana b'nei Droma Araya, to our brethren in the upper southern region." And our brethren in the southern region, our land, Shlomchem Yiskei, may your peace be increased. Modana L'chon, we are informing you, Dumatas Man B'ira, the time of Biur has come every 3 years. Afukim Asraya me Omre Shivalyaya, in order to take the masros from the sheaves of the grain. Ulachad b'nei Galila Ilo b'nei Galila, and to our brethren in the upper Galilee and in the Galilee, Araya here from context must mean the lower Galilee, the same way before it was the upper south and the lower south, except I don't see what, I didn't get a chance to check, but I'm just guessing from context it means the lower. The lower Galilee, no, they were speaking, the Amorayim, when they wanted to issue formal rulings, spoke in Hebrew. The statements of the Amorayim, the stam of the Gemara is in Aramaic. But if you've been noticing, the Yerushalmi basically doesn't have stam. The actual formal rulings, like Hanacha Osa Mitzvah or Hadlaka Osa Mitzvah, Madliki Miner L'ner and Madliki Miner L'ner. When they speak in their formal halachic rulings, they speak in Mishnaic Hebrew. That's like the literary language. But their actual spoken language was Aramaic, either Palestinian Aramaic or Babylonian Aramaic. So the interesting thing, though, is that he is also, when he is writing a letter, but when you're writing a letter to the masses, you're going to do it in the vernacular. But it still has a feel of a type of a literary Aramaic. Again, I'm not a linguist. I don't know. Language not used anymore? Hebrew was a literary language. It was a spoken language. It was Aramaic. Okay. Anyway, I'm guessing here our ayah means the southern, from the context, or the lower, the upper Galilee and the lower Galilee. Shlomchem Yiskei, may your peace be, multiply. Modana L'chon, we are informing you, Dematazman Biura, that the time of Biur has come. Tivkun Ma'asraya mi Ma'atane Zeitaya, take Ma'asrot from the sort of the piles of the olives. Okay, and that we've seen. That's the Masrot issue. We saw that also. All of this is very much paralleling the Bavli. It's actually from a Tosefta. Okay, and La'achana b'nei Gelusa. Now here you'll notice some differences. To our brethren in the exile, b'nei Gelusa, Debavel in Babylon, b'nei Gelusa Demadai, or in Media. It is media. Okay, b'nei Gelusa the Yavan in Greece. The Sharbinei Galvasa, the Israel, and all the other places of the exile of Israel. So, by the way, it mentioned a few locations that weren't mentioned in the Bavli, right? Madai and Yavan. Shlomchem Yiskei, may your peace multiply. Modana L'chom, we are informing you, the Maraya Rekikin, that the sheep are tender, because Laya Dekikin and the pigeons are small. Vizimna Daviva Lomata, and there you have it. The Aviv Hatime has not come. We didn't have that in the previous quote from the Yerushalmi, but here it mentions the Aviv, which is a core part of necessary factor. And the matter is proper in our eyes and the eyes of our colleagues. We had 30 days. Okay, so that was very parallel to what we saw in the Bavli, few little variations. Now we're going to turn to something that we haven't seen yet in the Bavli, but is going to be the focus of today's daf in the Bavli. You do not do Iber Shana unless, now this sort of is focusing on the Tekufa aspect, it seems to be, and it's sort of saying how off are the Tekufot. Now the Tekufot, basically, just quickly, there's a Tekufos Tishrei, which is the autumnal equinox. There's Tekufas Nisan, which is the vernal equinox. You get the word autumn and vernal spring. Equinox is when the day is 12, perfect, 12 hours. Okay, the sun, and then you have the Tekufas Teves, which is the winter solstice, when the day is the shortest, and Tekufas, which one is it? Tammuz, thank you, which is the summer solstice, when the day is the longest. Okay, now it seems that the goal in general was that Tekufas Nisan would fall out on, any guesses? Nisan. Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and Tekufas Tishrei would fall out on Rosh Chodesh Tishrei. That was the goal. Okay, so the question would be, how off would it have to be for you to do an Iber Shana, for the factor of this issue of the Tekufa? We mentioned there was Tekufa, Aviv, and what was the third one? It was Tekufa, and the Peiros Elon. Those were the three main factors. So the Tekufa factor, so when did, if you want to say at the spring start, when was the spring solstice? So it was supposed to be on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. If it was a month off, it was going to be on, Rosh Chodesh Iyar, then clearly you would go ahead and add a month and you pull it back, and then it would be exactly where it was supposed to be. But let's say it was less than a month off, right? Let's say it was 2 weeks off. How much off would it have to be that you would add a month so you would get Kufas Nisan starting on, or before, and certainly before Pesach? So that was the question. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so Ein Mavir L'Shana, you do not do Iber Shana, Elim Kein Haisa Chasera Rov Chodesh, unless it was off by the majority of the month. The Kama Rov Chodesh, Shisha Sayom, 16 days. So meaning, as the Gemara will explain, but meaning that the Tekufas Nisan, the vernal equinox, would fall on either the 16th or it would be 16 days off. So either depending on how you define what the endpoint is, it'll either fall on the 16th or the 17th of Nisan. It'll start in the middle of Pesach. Okay, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Shtei Yadot, 2/3 HaChodesh, Echad V'Esrin Yom, 21 days. So now the Gemara is going to explain what this is based on. It's going to be a little cryptic. Amar Rav Shmuel bar Nachman, V'hu Yakriv HaOmer Sof Nisan Shel Tekufa, because the Omer has to be brought at the end of the Tekufa of Nisan. Now, what does it mean, the end of the Tekufa of Nisan? So again, I'm just going to give you the Pnei Moshe's explanation. He means the beginning, but it means because the beginning is one of the ends, if you think about it, the edge, if you want to say it that way. So it means, though, the Omer has to be brought when it is the Tekufas Nisan, when you're within the spring. Okay, Tekufas Nisan begins spring. The official beginning of spring is the Tekufas Nisan. So in order for it to begin, if the Tekufa is 16 days off, so that means that it's going to start not on day 1 of Nisan, but it's going to start on day 17 of Nisan. So you're going to bring the Omer. It's still going to be the winter time. People getting this? Yeah. Do you want to quick? For those that aren't that visual, okay. Here's the actual month of Nisan, okay. Here's the 15th, right, which is Pesach. Okay, here's the 16th, which is the Omer, whatever, 17th, etc. Now, if normally the Kufas Nisan, meaning the spring, normally starts here. This is normally the spring. Okay, this is the vernal equinox. You see, that's why I did it in green. Okay, okay. And this here is the winter, okay? Any time before the vernal equinox is considered to be the winter. Now, if this is late, okay, and then you're going to fix it by adding a month. If this is late and it's more than 16 days late, okay, so rather than being on the 1, if it's 16 days late and it's going to be here, okay, then the Omer is coming during the winter, right? If the vernal equinox started here, it was 16 days off. So rather than being on 1, it was 17. You're going to bring the Omer during technically the winter. That's not acceptable. So if it's 16 days off, you have to move it because you need the Omer to be brought within the Tekufa of Nisan. So here it's reading the Sof. Again, I don't have a better read, but within the edge, even within the very beginning, but the Omer has to be brought within the Tekufa of Nisan. So that's the logic of the 16 days. Now, you would think that Pesach has to be within the Tekufa of Nisan, right? Vasisa Chodesh Aviv, Vasisa Pesach. Okay, I don't know what to say about that, but anyway.
No,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yes.
But like in whatever the calendar today,
Yes.
so that 16th of Pesach would be 23rd of March.
Okay.
So that's
Right,
kind of
because-
as early as we let it. Like,
Oh, that's an interesting
Usually-
point.
usually Pesach doesn't go.
Right, that's a good point. Right, because
Earlier
March is the vernal
March.
equinox. It's the 23rd or the 21st,
Something,
23rd.
yeah,
Right, and so you're right.
Second,
That
third.
normally Pesach doesn't get much earlier than the end of March, which is exactly about, because the calendar is arranged to accommodate exactly this.
Doesn't the Torah say Pesach in Aviv?
Yeah, Chodesh Aviv,
Right,
Asisa Pesach.
Right.
But it's also Chodesh Aviv, so maybe the feeling here is that at least half of the month is within. I don't know. It's a good point. I would also think you'd want Pesach to start.
So you're
within
saying
that.
is when you always say
But this is spring. But notice Aviv though also specifically is a different factor than the Tkufa. Aviv is when the grain is ripening. Okay, the Tkufa here is not being linked to the phrase Chodesh Aviv. Okay, that was specific. Remember the factors were Tkufa, Aviv, and Peres Elon. Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to get to. So you're saying that's a separate concern. You say
Aviv is specifically the agricultural question of is the grain ripening. That's
being-
different than the question of where is the sun, okay, which is the question of the Tkufa. All right, so now it says like this. Okay.
And where do you get the drash? Like, how do we know?
Oh, so the Bavli is going to have the drash for the Tkufa. It's not in the Yerushalmi. But the Bavli is going to link it more to Tishrei than to Nisan. So I don't know what to say to you. All right. Okay. Where were we? Sof Nisan Shel Tkufa. I'm Rabbi Yossi. I'm Rabbi Yossi Ad HaPesach. So this seems to be saying, again, it's a little cryptic, but it seems to be saying exactly this. No. You want Pesach to begin within it. So then why do we say 16 days? We should have said 15 days. So we're going to see in the Bavli that, the endpoints are always a bit of a question. So the way the Pnei Moshe reads this is that when it says that if it's 16 days off, it means if the Tkufa starts on day 16, not if it's 16 days off and starts on 17. He's reading it, if it starts on day 16, then you correct it. Because we need the Tkufa to be starting on at least on the first day of Pesach. So that's basically saying we need Pesach to begin in the spring, not the Omer to begin in the spring. And reading that it's more, the problem is not that you fix it on 17, but you would fix it on 16. Okay, so I'm going to have Masnaya, Vahu. Now this seems to be the explanation for the 2/3, the 21 days, okay, and now focusing not on the Tkufa of Nisan, but the Tkufa of Tishrei. V'hu sheyitlu lulav b'sof Tishrei shel Tkufa. No, the reason that being off 21 days is a problem is if it's off 21 days, then no part of Sukkot, meaning not we don't count Shmini Atzeres, but the days of taking of the lulav, none of them fall within the fall. Fall within the the period of the, and also remember Sukkot is also linked to the period of the year. Asif, it's what is it? What? What's once again? Yeah, right. No, what's the word before Asif? Chag Asif, Chag Asif, Tkufat Hashana, exactly. So anyway, so here it's saying that the reason for the logic behind the 21 days, even if it's as much as 20 days off, at least day 21 of Tishrei will be within the fall. So that will start within the Tkufa. And at least if a little bit of Sukkot starts within the fall, you're okay. But if the fall begins only starting on Shmini Atzeres and none of Sukkot fell within the fall, that's a problem.
So just remind me.
Yes.
So we knew that you have to do it Nisan, right? But if there's another competing value of having Tishrei being a certain time, why can't we just?
Well, no, this is also saying that part of the considering the factoring of the calendar doesn't have to only be a Nisan consideration. It can even be a Tishrei consideration. I mean, if you think about it, the Peres HaElon is a Shavuos consideration. So we always, I'm sure when, you always taught, the reason for the, this is what I was always taught, right? For way back in, grade school, right? The whole idea about switching the lunar calendar to adjust to the solar is because of Chodesh Aviv, right? But this is telling you it's not just Chodesh Aviv. There's aspects of Tkufa. One of the factors here is Peres HaElon. So the other Chagim are also relevant. So here that's an adjusting, not for Pesach.
And how do we know that you couldn't do, let's say, an extra L, so Tishrei can be in?
So we discussed that at the end of yesterday or whatever. The Gemara just says you only add Adar. The Gemara doesn't say why. So I assumed it was because the focus of the adjustment was about Chodesh Aviv. So it had directly be in relationship to the upcoming, month of Nisan. But Tosfos says it's because a strange basis, because a pasuk in Megillah Esther says B'chodesh Shnei Masar Hu Chodesh Adar. So if you add any month, you'll make Adar off. The only way to not get Adar as off from being the 12th month is to add an extra Adar.
That means they also didn't know why it was Adar in some other month. Pasuk from Esther.
I know. I understand. Right. Okay. So all right. Where are we? So now moving on. So that was the hard part. So thankfully in the Yerushalmi, this whole thing of the Tufa is like 3 lines. For the Bavli, it's going to be our entire daf today, just warning you. Okay, so you don't add more or less than a month. It's only exactly 1 month. The Bavli discussed 29 or 30 days. If you try to add, let's add a half month this year. Let's add 45 days. No, that won't work. You don't add on Shemitah. You don't want to stretch out to the Shemitah year, and not Motzei Shemitah. People want to bring the Omer sooner rather than later. But b'diavad it works. One where they usually do it, but Erev Shvius, because you want more time before Shemitah arrives to harvest the grain and whatever. Reb Zera became Rabbi Yavo, Hadad Tamar, Tamar, Achelo Hita Rebbe Likach Yach Michutzarts. When was it a problem adding on Shvius or Motzei Shvius before they allowed importing fruit and vegetables from Chutz La'aretz? Okay, which we saw this parallel in the Bavli. La'aretz. Aval mishahita Rebbe likach yach mechutz la'aretz. He shvius shar shnei shavua. Shemitah is just like any other year. Now the Bavli said shvius. The Bavli said that motzei shvius. Like you don't have to rush to bring the Omer if you can be eating vegetables. I would think you never, even if you're importing fruit, want to add an extra month to the Shemitah year. It's another month you can't be working the land, right? So it's interesting that it took it that far. All right, so now it says like this. Hi, Rabbi Meir Omer. Hare Omer. This is again, we saw this already in the Bavli. The Ishba mibal shlisha v'yavei leisha Elohim lechem bikurim esrim lechem. Okay, and basically, so the point the Bavli made was that this was the place that the grain should have ripened as fast as, the fastest in all of Israel, and all that was available was the barley. There was no wheat or anything else, so it's a little bit strange. So the Gemara says, so they should have added an extra month so that they could have gotten, more stuff right by that time. Why did Elisha not add an extra month that year? Because it was a famine. Everybody was running to the threshing floors in order to get, so they don't want to delay the bringing of the Omer. So you don't add an extra month, even if the seasons are a bit off, to delay the bringing of the Omer when it's a period of famine. Some say you don't do the Iber Shana because of impurity. We discussed this yesterday, right? If people are not going to be pure to bring the Korban Pesach, the Gemara, the Bavli tied it to the question of Tuma Hutra B'tzibur D'chuya B'tzibur. How problematic is it to allow the Korban Pesach to be brought if the majority of the people are Tamei? And depending on how problematic you find that, will be whether it's a sufficient basis to add an extra month. So here it says, Ein Ma'abrin Mipnei HaTumah. You don't do it for the Tumah. That's the Tanna Kama. Reb Yossi Omer Ma'abrin. You do add an extra month. He added an extra month for that reason. They were not tahor. They ate the Korban Pesach not according to what the verse demanded. Anyway, Hashem Atov Yichaper Ba'ad. I don't know. So anyway, so it's Cheskia. I don't know. Maybe that's read with you. I don't know. Anyway, the point still is that he understands that he did it. Not that the problem was they ate it when they were tamei, but that he added a month because they were tamei. Reb Shimon Omer, Afal pi she'ibru Nisan ein mu'ubar, el adar. So he understands, no, the problem with Chizkiah was not the Tumah, the problem was presumably that he added the month of Nisan when it was already Nisan rather than adding the month of Adar. We saw this yesterday. Reb Shimon Yehuda Omer Mishum Reb Shimon, Isa Yechezkiah again, Yechezkiah Litzibur Lasor Pesach Sheni. The problem was not that he added a month of Nisan. The problem was he had them do a Pesach Sheni when presumably it was the Tzibur, it was the majority of the people, and they could have done a Pesach Rishon. So different variations of what he did wrong is what he did wrong that he shouldn't have added the month for Tumah, is what he did wrong that he added the month of Nisan, is what he did wrong that he made them bring a Pesach Sheni when it was the majority of the Tzibur, so they could have brought a Pesach Rishon even though they were Tamei. Is Tani Ma'abri Mitnei Tumas? There's one brisa that says you do add an extra month for the Tumah reasons. Is Tani Ein Ma'abrin? You don't. Ma'adamar Ein Ma'abrin. Mina, what's the basis of saying you don't add a month? It says they did something wrong. So presumably what was wrong was that they added the month for the Tumah reasons. And the ones that says you do add it. So where am I now? Oh, Vav Amud Aleph here. Okay, Ma'abrin. No, now I lost my
you're going
place.
from left to right.
I know, I get so confused the way the staple is here. Oh, here, Ma'abrin. Thank you. Ma'amekayim below kakatuv. What do you do with the verse not as was written if they were allowed to add a month for Tumah purposes? Bipnei she'ibru Nisan. Like we saw, like the other opinion in the Breita. The problem wasn't that it was because it was Tumah. The problem was that they did it in Nisan. The Ein Ma'abrin ela Adar. And you could only add the month of Adar. Okay. The Asya Vataya, it goes Kidamar, like the one that says like what says Reb Simon Bar Zvid. Now this idea that they were Tamei, why were they Tamei? What made them all Tamei? That he felt the need to add a month. So I mean that's true in the Psukim anyway, that it says they were Tamei. So it's not necessarily unclear why it's tying it to a specific opinion of a Tana here. But now we're going to give the reason why they were all Tamei. Gugolas Arnona Yevusim Matzu Tachas Hamizbeach. So that's an interesting tradition that they found the skull of Arnon HaYevusi. He's the one who sold the threshing floor, right, to build the David HaMelech, to build the place that was used for Harabayas. So they found that he had been buried exactly where, like it's interesting, like it evokes this medrash, like the medrash is like, a pharaoh shel Yitzchak is, tzabur umunach tachat hamizbeach, the centrality of the mizbeach, like where Adam Rishon, his dust is under the Mizbeach, so here it's actually saying that, so here it's saying that Arno, when he sold the place to David to be used to the Beis HaMikdash, he wanted also to be buried under the Mizbeach, so he made sure that he got buried there, presumably before they built the Beis HaMikdash, which really is pretty, okay, anyway, now one verse says, so now we're going to discuss Chizkiyahu. So one verse says about Chizkiyahu, why
are we bringing this armor? Is that why they were Tamei?
That's why they were Tamei.
So does that mean then the Kohanim were Tamei mostly, not the people? Or
yeah, that's a good question. You're right. That's an interesting point. Like if it was the Mizbeach, presumably it wouldn't be the people. Right, so
that's one of the reasons, though. If Kohanim are
right. I'm not sure why that would make a difference, but it's a good point. Okay, one verse says, "Kol levavo hechin lidrosh." The pasuk says, "Kol levavo hechin lidrosh Elohim v'lasot v'lamed Yisrael chok u'mishpat." That's by Chizkiah. Reb Simon Bar Zvid, Reb Shmuel Bar Nachman, Chadamar afilu. And now the end of the pasuk is, which isn't quoted here, is v'lo b'taharat hakodesh. All of his heart he gave to search out God and to teach the law, but not in matters of the purity of the sanctuary. So what does that mean? I mean, it didn't quote the end of the pasuk, but that's what we're going to be focusing on. Reb Simon Bar Zvid, Reb Shmuel Bar Nachman, Chadamar afilu kama asal l'taharas hakodesh. He tried as much as possible to address issues of Tum and Tara, but lo yatzei yedei taharas hakodesh. He did not do what was sufficient. Okay, so that was the one thing he fell short. He tried, but he fell short. The Chadamar and the other said, "Afilu kol masim tovim she'osim l'taharas hakodesh lo yatzi yedei taharas hakodesh." So it's again the gears is a little funny, but the way the Pnei Moshe explains it is no. It means he put all of his efforts in everything else, but the one thing he didn't put efforts in is trying to address the issues of Tum and Tara.
Wasn't there? Okay. What was it that they were Bucky in Tumah and Tara?
Oh yeah, that's the Gemara says that in the time. I think you're right. Is that the time of Chizkiah? They were Bucky. They were Vikiyim.
So then what's?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're darshaning a pasuk here. Okay, Ksiv. Vayachilu be'echad lechodesh harishon lekadesh. So this is again them trying to purify and get ready to bring the korban Pesach. They began on the 1st of Nisan to sanctify. Uviyom shmona lechodesh bo ulam Hashem. And this is in the middle of this whole religious revival, right? So on the first day of the month they came to the sanctuary. Vayakadshu et beis Hashem liyamim shlosha. It took them 3 days to sanctify the Beis Hamikdash. Uviyom shisha asar lechodesh harishon kilu, and they finished on the 16th, and that's why they were still tamei when they were trying to bring the korban Pesach. So this is presumably also why it says that they found the tumah in the Beis Hamikdash itself or something. Now, now, presumably it understands this sanctifying was removing avodah zarah. It's actually interesting because there's a debate. I told you sometimes before, that the debates of Rishonim reflect inherent ambiguities, or sometimes debates of Bavli, Yerushalmi. So our Gemara mentioned yesterday that everybody was tamei. It didn't say why. So Rashi says because of avodah zarah. So Tosfos says, no, it wasn't avodah zarah. So here, the Yerushalmi, first it started with the opinion that there was real tumah. There was a body buried under the mizbeach. We know where the bodies are buried. Okay, and then the other. Now it says that it reads these psukim that what he was doing to get everybody tahor was getting rid of the avodah zarah. So associating the tumah with the avodah zarah. So it asks the question, but you could have done that in one day, get rid of the avodah zarah. I mean, come on, you got a lot of people. How big is the Beis Hamikdash? They could have done it in one day. What took so much time? No, the problem was that, like it's when they tried to get rid of the graffiti on the subways, right? It takes a lot of time. They had it wasn't just these idols. They actually had carved into the walls, into the marble, into the walls of the Beis Hamikdash. They had carved their idolatrous carvings. So that took a lot of time to get rid of that. That you couldn't do just in one day. Okay, now, Shishir Dvarim Asa Chizkiah, the famous Mishnah here in Pesachim. 6 things Chizkiah did. Al Shlosha Hodulo, Al Shlosha Lohodulo. The rabbis agreed with 3 and disagreed with 3. She'agira Tzamos Aviv Al Mitas Chavalim. He would drag his father's bones to show, his father was Menashe. Because in order to part of this, religious revival, people shouldn't venerate him. He was an evil king. The Kidei Nachash and Choshes, he ground up the the copper snake that Moshe did because they were using it as an avodah zarah. The Ganas Tavla Shel Refuot, that's the most cryptic one. He hid, the normal version is a Sefer Refuot. This has the tablet of the cures. There's one opinion in the Rishonim which means it's just a lot of really good medicine, but he was upset that people weren't praying to God. They just knew medicine too well. As you can imagine, Rambam has a fit with that approach. He says, Rambam says, when I thank God for getting for Rofei Baruch Rofei Cholim, what I do is I thank God for having created the universe and given people intellect and given us the ability to develop medicine and given my doctor the ability to know what to do. And that's what I mean when I say Baruch Rofei Cholim. It's not that you have to ignore science and hope for a divine cure. So Rambam says the problem of the Tavla Refuot was that they were more like magical types of or whatever. Anyway, that's the more cryptic one. Vahodula. That the rabbis were happy with. Now, what are the things they weren't happy with?
So you're saying Sefer Refuah is almost like an avodah zarah.
Yeah, exactly. Which is similar to the Nachash Nechoshes and similar to the previous one, in Menashe, whatever. Sosa Megichon, Elyon, the Kitetz Losos Vahichol. This was all about the concern about the wars that they were getting into. Okay, closing up the wellspring, and sending off the doors of the Heichal to try to bribe the enemy troops. The Iver Nisan Ben Nisan, and this is why we're quoting it. He added an extra month in Nisan itself, the Lo Hodulo. Okay, now back to Iber Shana. Ein ma'abrim kodem Rosh Hashanah. You don't do before Rosh Hashanah. V'im ibrua ein mu'uberet, and if you did it, it doesn't work. Neha dochak, but if there's pressure, no, you're adding Adar. You weren't here at the end of yesterday. You're adding Adar, but you're making your decision more than 6 months in advance. Okay, but if there's pressure, you can make the decision immediately after Rosh Hashanah. And there you go, Michael. The only thing though you can add is Adar, but the question is when you make that decision. Rabbi Omer Nisan lo nit aber miyamav. Nisan was never made ibur. Now it does not mean that Nisan itself wasn't 30 days. It means that the month preceding Nisan. It's a funny way of saying it, but that's clear from context. Okay, so it means that Nisan never followed a month that was 30 days.
Others always chaser.
Right, others always chaser. Now, where were we? Lo nitaber miyamav. V'hatanina, but don't we teach in ba hachodesh bizmano? If it's really question is to read it hachodesh or hachadash. Any of this, the whole thing about when they would use the new monies for the for the bringing the new korbanot, as the new monies given for the shkalim for the Beis Hamikdash. And it would say that if the new monies arrived, at least is the way the Pnei Moshe is reading it, the Chadash, the new monies arrived in the right time, then we would start using them in the right, then we would be able to start using it even on, even on the first day of Nisan. Nisan could be an early month because then we could start using the money right away. But if the monies didn't arrive at the right time, then we would make Nisan a day later to give us the extra time to get the monies. That's the way, whatever they're reading the Mishnah. Anyway, it sounds like Nisan could sometimes be a late month. So it says imba, but loba. No. It means if that's something like that happened, but it never happened. Okay, they never had a problem where they had to go ahead and make Nisan a late month. They could have, but it never happened. Now, similarly, Rav Amar Tishrei lo nitaber miyamav. Tishrei never came after a full Elul. Elul was always chaser. But don't we teach a Mishnah that if Elul was mu'ubar, they would what would they do if Elul was mu'ubar? Yes, this was a whole question about in a Shemitah year. If on the last day of Elul, you don't know if it's Rosh Hashanah or if it's not Rosh Hashanah, if Elul was you were on the 30th day of Elul, and then would Shemitah annul the loans on that day, or were you already into the next year? So we don't have to worry about the specifics, but the point is that the Mishnah recognizes the possibility that Elul might be a 30-day month. So doesn't that what the Mishnah say? Im haya chodesh mubar. So he says im haya, if it were, but lo haya, but it never happened. Okay. So anyway, so they're both saying that the previous month was always 29.
And why did they have 2 days of Rosh Hashanah?
So let's take a look. So you're anticipating the next question. Okay. Now we have another problem because we have a famous Tosefta. When they made Rosh Hashanah in Usha, which is where the central sort of seat of the basin was after the Churban Abayis, B'Yom HaRishon, on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, Avar Rabbi Yishmael ben Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, he passed in front of the Aron to lead the davening. Farmer Kediva Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, and he davened the Musaf like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, which was Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says that you say Malchios not in the fourth bracha, which we do Melech HaKol Haaretz Mekadesh Yisrael v'Yom HaZikaron, but you say it in the third bracha, Melech HaKol Haaretz, like we say Hamelech HaKadosh. Okay, so he said. So I'm Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. Lo yinu nogin ke b'Yavne. Oh, now you're an Usha. You think you can change our nusach? In Yavne we didn't do that. In Yavne we said it in the middle bracha. B'Yom Sheni. So on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, our Rabbi Chanina ben Rabbi Yosef Glili, they got a different chazan. They got Rabbi Chanina ben Yosef Glili, but Amak Rabbi Akiva, and he davened like Rabbi Akiva. And he said it in the fourth bracha. Melech HaKol Haaretz Mekadesh Yisrael v'Yom HaZikaron.
This is why Jews are annoying.
I know. I'm Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. Kach hayinu nogin b'Yavne. Oh, good. That was our Miganag in Yavne. Anyway, the point being that it says the second day of Rosh Hashanah. How do you have 2 days of Rosh Hashanah? This is where they were making Rosh Chodesh. Okay, this is where they were. So they knew the day, and you're having 2 days. It could only be if Elul was a 30-day month. So then on the 30th of Elul, you don't yet know, is today going to be the first day of Rosh Hashanah? Now, you all know that for our 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, it's never like a standard 2-day Rosh Chodesh. A standard 2-day Rosh Chodesh, the first day winds up being 30 of the previous month. For our 2-day Rosh Hashanah, the first day is the first of Tishrei. That has to do with, I'm not going to get into all the details of how we get our 2-day Rosh Hashanah. But anyway, here in Eretz Yisrael, where they were Mekadesh HaChodesh, it would only make sense if Elul was a 30-day month. So that proves against the assertion that Elul was never a 30-day month. Okay, so it says Atani Kichua Kirishon B'Sheni. So doesn't but it says, look, that they made the first and the second day of Rosh Hashanah. So you see that it was not like you said. So Reb Ze'er B'Shem Reb Chizdai Osa Shana Niskalkala. Fine, that year they made a mistake. So when he says never, he doesn't exactly mean never. Okay, they never wanted it to work out that way. 1 year they made a mistake. So now here seems to be another answer. Ma'u b'rishonu ma'u b'sheni. Rava b'shem Rav shana echad shana shniya. It doesn't mean on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. It means on the next Rosh Hashanah. It means the second time they had an opportunity to have a davening. Okay, but Yom HaSheni doesn't mean the second day of Rosh Hashanah. It means the next year of Rosh Hashanah, which is a bit of a stretch. So the Yerushalmi doesn't like it. You can't say it means the second year. It says the second day. Okay, so we're ending with that. All right. Anyway, now no. Okay. Now we're switching from Iber Shana to Kiddush HaChodesh. Let's say they try. There's this principle of Asher Tikuo Sam B'Moadam. Even if you're off, it's still Rosh Chodesh. Okay, but how off can you be? You're only allowed to be off if you do day 30, instead of, or day 31, and you do that off. But let's say they've made Rosh Chodesh on day 29. The previous month was a 28-day month, so they made it on day, 31. That would, 32. So that would not work. Okay, so Yochayeh Mukudash Talmud Lomar, the verse teaches Otam Asher Tikua Tam B'Moadam Otam Elohim Moadai Ein Elohim Moadai. So no, only within the range of possibilities does it work to set my moadim. Your discretion is not without restriction.
So how do you get that from Otam?
I don't know.
What?
Yeah, but somehow maybe it's Otam is reading Atem. Asher Tiku Atem, and anyway, Mikrai Kodesh Elohim Odai. It's both Atem, you have discretion, but it's Elohim. These, I'm also telling you what's what. You have to limit yourself within the parameters that I'm setting. Okay? So now
which is funny because that's all our interpretation is what God is setting.
I understand. Kodem Lizmano, Tisha Ve'esrim Yom. If you tried to turn the 29th of the previous month into Rosh Chodesh, it won't work. La'achar Iburo, Shnayim V'shloshim Yom. If you try to turn the previous day 32 into Rosh Chodesh, it won't work. It's either day 30 or day 31. Okay, interesting, Adayin with an aleph, lo higiu. How do you know? We hadn't yet seen this. We saw this in the Bavli early. We're seeing this in the Yerushalmi. How do you know that you would add an extra month, not for concerns within Eretz Yisrael, but because of the people of exile who are coming for the regal and haven't arrived yet, that we even are trying to accommodate them, right? It's interesting. For the Yerushalmi, it's the last thing we address, is accommodating concerns outside of Israel. Talmud Lomar, Bnei Yisrael, right? What is it? I'm trying to Bnei Yisrael, like Moadei, Bnei Yisrael. I don't know. It's Bnei Yisrael Moadei. It's Moadei Hashem El Bnei Yisrael. Oh, okay. Bnei Yisrael v'martalei Moadei Hashem. So it's v'martaleihem. Anyway, so it juxtaposes Bnei Yisrael and Moadei. I say Moadot sheyasu kol Yisrael. You want all of the Jewish people to be able to participate together. So to come to Yerushalayim for the Moadim, so you have to adjust the calendar even for that. Amram Shmuel Bar Nachman, the Hein Shigil Har Pras, and this is a similar point the Bavli made. It can't be that everybody is being lazy and sitting at home and we're going to accommodate their laziness. It's that they're already mobilizing and trying to get here, and they got to the Euphrates, and they're still not going to get here in time. And then we'll add a month. You only do it in Judea. We sort of quoted this earlier in the Yerushalmi as well, this idea. If you weren't able to do it in Judea, you could do it in the Galilee. You don't now. I discussed this yesterday as well. The importance of the centrality of Israel for where the authority, ultimate religious authority, lies, and the calendar is like the big symbol or the the one that exerts that influence. So here we're going to discuss that again directly. This question. So you don't do it in Chutz La'aretz, and b'diavad it won't work. So now it says 1 minute. You just said you don't do it in the Galilee. You only do it in Judea. Why? I would never have thought you could do it in Chutz La'aretz. So it says no. There's a difference. In the Galilee, you don't do it, but if you did it, it works. In Chutz La'aretz, it doesn't even work b'diavad. Okay, so this seems to totally rule out Chutz La'aretz. But now we say 1 minute. Actually, even the Yerushalmi admits that there are times you can do it in Chutz La'aretz, even after saying it won't work b'diavad. Now, all of this is when it's possible to do it in Eretz Yisrael. If it's not possible, the question is what defines possible. If it's not possible to do it in Eretz Yisrael, you can. And we actually have historical precedents. Yirmiyah Iber b'chutz laaretz. When there was like all the Jewish people had been exiled, they did it in chutz laaretz. Yechezkel Iber b'chutz laaretz. Baruch ben Neriah Iber b'chutz laaretz. Okay, now those are where there's really no Jewish community left in Israel. But now we get to more modern times.
Is that
I don't think so. Hananiah ben Ache Rabbi Yoshua, Hananiah, Rabbi Yoshua's nephew, the son of the brother of Rabbi Yoshua, Iber b'chutz laaretz. He did it in chutz laaretz. Shalach la Rebbe. Now Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, right? So there was Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was in Eretz Yisrael at this time. The Tanaim were in Eretz Yisrael, and still in Bavel they were saying, no, we still have the authority. So Rabbi Yehuda's Nasi is not going to let this go like without addressing it. So he sent him Sholosh Egrin, 3 letters. Gabi Reb Yitzchak Rabbi Nassan through the agency with Rabbi Yitzchak and Rabbi Nassan. Bechad Kasiv, one was written Likdushat Chananya. So like praising Hananiah. So start by delivering him this letter that praises him. Ubechada, the second letter, Ksiv Gedim Shehinachta Nasu Tiyashim. The young goats that you left behind in Eretz Yisrael when you went to Bavel, they're now become these strong rams. I guess Gedi, the sheep, or Gedi is a goat. But anyway, Gedim Nasu Tiyashim, right? You left us. You think we're still kids here, right? Because you left us 20. Yeah, I know, Rebbe. He was like a little kid in Cheder. He says, no, we've become pretty serious religious authorities in your absence. Okay, ubechadaksiv, and then the third and the other one, the final one, it's written in ein ata mekabel alecha. If you don't accept my decree that you're not making Rosh, doing Iber Shana, we're doing Iber Shana. Tzei lecha lemidbar, exile yourself to the desert. Atad, the desert of thorn bushes. V'tehei shochet, and you could be the shochet. V'nechunyan. And Nechunyan, which is Nechunyo, he was like the Reish Galusa Zorek. No, I don't know if it's Nechunyan Ben Achana. Anyway, he could be the Zorek, which basically means go start your own religion, right? Which is, what do you mean? You mean you're building a Mizbeach, you be the Shochet, he be the Zorek. Like, you're not, we have to have a unified religion. And if you don't want to, submit to my authority, then you might as well, go ahead and start worshiping on yourself and bringing korbanos on yourself.
The rabbinate in the land of Israel would never exert.
Exactly. Imagine that, trying to demonstrate
so
his power.
3 letters he sent when they weren't listening.
Well, wait, no. So we're going to see what he's going to do with these 3 letters. I mean, obviously, it evokes the whole, Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yoshua, right? The idea, but Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yoshua was within Israel, and Benassi still had to show that he was the central religious authority within Israel. Here was Israel as opposed to the Golos. Okay, so now the idea was that he didn't deliver all 3 letters at once. It was all like a plan. First you deliver the first, then the second, then the third. We'll see how it goes. It's that joke, right, about the guy that he's he's leaving his he's basically the company is in disarray, and he's the CEO, and he's been and he's being let go. They're hiring a new CEO. So he tells to the incoming one, he says, if there's problems when you're if things whatever, I've left to you 3 letters. Like open 1 letter at a time. Each time there's a problem. So so anyway, so a few years things seem to be going well anyway, and then all of a sudden there's no problem. The stock prices are plummeting. So he goes to the safe. He opens the first letter. It says, blame your predecessor. So he blames his predecessor, whatever and it restores confidence. Fine. Then a few years go by, another big problem. He opens the second letter. It says reorganize. Okay, so he reorganized, whatever. A few years later, another crisis. He opens the third letter. It says prepare 3 letters. So anyway, all right. So we have these 3 letters here. So Kara Kadmaisa. So he read the first one. He said, "Oh, Hananiah." He was praising. Is that his name, Hananiah? So whoever it was, what was it? What was his name? Hananiah, right? Yeah. So he read the first one, which praised him. So he says, here's this letter from Rabbi, and it was singing his praises of Hananiah the Oktin. So he prostrated himself. He showed his, his gratitude for that. Tinyesa, he read the second one, and there wasn't the context that it was about Iber Shana. The second one just says, oh, you should be aware that all of your Talmidim that you left in Eretz Yisrael have become huge Talmidei Chachamim. So Va'oktin, so he prostrated himself. He was showing gratitude for that. Then what? Oh, Va'okrun. Oh, okay, that's true. My first guess was Va'okdun.
That's what it says in.
Yeah, it could be Va'okrun, which is he showed them honor.
Yeah,
it's one or the other. Anyway, I think Okrun works better in the continuing discussion. Anyway, Tlisa. In the third one, then he said, okay, buddy, now here's the story. Retract your Iber Shana, and if not, we're sending you to exile. So, boy, mivasar tahon. So he wanted to be like, to like denigrate them, seems to be. Let me see how it translates the word mivasar tahon. Where were we? Yeah, levazototan is how the Pnei Moshe translates it. So they said to him, Leisa Yachil, you can no longer dismiss the letters. The Kfar Okratinin, you already showed honor. You already showed that you venerate the letters and you respect them and you respect the one who sent them. So we trapped him. They sort of, got him now. Now he can't be dismissed. Rebbe, who cares about Rebbe, right? So they got him. So come Reb Yitzchak, Vikar Rebbe Oraisa. So he was still resisting. So Yitzchak, who was one of the emissaries, opened up a Sefer Torah and he read from it. Eile Moadei Hananya ben Achi Reb Yoshua. So Hananya said, no, Eile Moadei Hashem. It says Eile Moadei Hashem. So Amar Lon Gaban, yeah, that's what our Sefer Torah says. Eila Moadei Hashem, but it looks like your Sefer Torah says Eila Moadei Hananya. So come Rabbi Nassan. So Rabbi Nassan got up, Ashlim, and he sort of completed, and he said, Kimi Bavel Teitzei Torah, Dvar Hashem Min Harbkot. So Amin Le, so they said to him. So he said, no. That's what he said back to them. So they said, Kaban, yeah, that's what it says by us. I don't know, by you must have a different pasuk. Okay, so they got the message through to him. So Azel Kibal Alehon, Kume Reb Yehuda ben Beteil and Nitzivin, but he was still not happy. So he went to Reb Yehuda ben Beteil to complain in Nitzivin. And he said, look, I still know more than them in Eretz Yisrael. I should be the one making the decisions. Nitzivin, I thought, is Eretz Yisrael.
So he went to Eretz Yisrael?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Where is Nitzivin? Where's Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira? You don't know Rabbi Dov? Somebody can check. Well, Charlie's not here. He does in a minute. It would be an interesting question, I know, for the whole narrative here, where is Nitzivin here? No, it's in Nitzivin is in Nusabian Syriac, a city, yeah. So in Turkey. All right, so that makes the story even more powerful. It seems that this was in Bavel, which would make sense if he's asserting Bavel authority. So he went to Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira in Nitzivin, presumably in Bavel. Amarle, and he said to him, Achareim, follow them, listen to them. In the end, we should submit to their authority. It's just like, the Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yoshua story, okay, except here it has different resonance. Amarle, Lina Yoda Mantaman, don't I know what's there? Meaning, come on, I know those guys. They're not as smart as me. Who can tell me that they're as smart as my computations, that they know as well as I do how to compute the year? You really expect me to follow them? So then he said back to him, no. So you think because they don't, in your opinion, they don't know how to do the cheshbonot, how to do the computations as good as you think that they should listen to you. No, how about the other way? They think, from their perspective, they think that they know how to do it as well as you, and therefore you should listen to them. So it's very nice. You think you're smarter, they should listen to you. They think they're smart, at least, and you should listen to them. So
but he was the Rebbe, wasn't he?
What?
But he was the Rebbe, right?
He was the Rebbe. What do you mean?
Was he the Rebbe?
Oh, he was, yes. Okay, that's true. But anyway, Kam Rachav Susaya. So fine, he accepted the psak. Okay, he didn't want to, it's interesting. He didn't want to accept the psak from Rebbe, but he accepted the psak from Rebbe Yehuda in Bavel to listen to Rebbe. Okay, so he got on a horse, Kam Rachav Susaya, Hein de Matmat, and he ran to, and he basically announced in all of Bavel that it was the Iber Shana based on Rebbe. So he accepted it, and he actually then, submitted himself, and he actually went to deliver the message to all of Bavel. Hein de mata mata, where he arrived. Hein de lo mata, and where he didn't get to in time, nahigan bekilkel. They actually wound up celebrating the year incorrectly. Okay, because they were following his Ibushana, and he had not had a chance to retract it and correct it. Okay, so here you have obviously the Yerushalmi is sort of emphasizing the fact that centrality of Eretz Yisrael. It's true that if there's nobody in Israel to do it, but ultimately, we want to underscore the authority of Eretz Yisrael. As I said, this became, in the period of the Gaonim, the central conflict that ultimately determined that the Babylonian authority and that the Bavel would dictate for halacha.
It's very interesting. This Tosafot here seems to have a very
what Tosafot?
I'm in the Bavli. It says the Ibura Dahatam Hainu Chishuv Ba'alma.
You're dealing with a different context. I'm not going to do it.
It's not about whether they were Ma'aber the.
No. I don't want to deal with that Tosafot right now. Okay. Ksiv El Yezer Ziknei Agola Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu B'Yoser Heim Alai Ziknei Agola. So now we're going to do it Russia. Yeser Ziknei Agola, which is that even though the elders of the Gola are great, or are of exceeding importance, nevertheless, Chaviva Alai Kat Ktana Sheberetz Yisrael, even though they're more numerous, the rabbis in the exiles. This is great. Now you get to see the Yerushalmi's perspective on things, right? Even though the rabbis in Bavel are more numerous, I find more dear to me those that are left in Eretz Yisrael, the small number that's in Israel. Yomi Sanhedrin Gedola Shebechutzar. It's bigger than even a large Sanhedrin Chutzar. I don't know what, so not literal Sanhedrin. No. Yes, Sir Ziknei Gola, they're more numerous, and even though they're more numerous, Chaviva Laikat Ktana Sheberetz Yisrael, I like the small number of rabbis that are in Israel. Yomi Sanhedrin Gedola Shebechutzar. Now, the Gemara said, how is this possible? Ksiv Acherish V'Masker Elef, that the 1,000 of the carpenters, and the were sent into exile, but the Harash, thank you, not Cherish, Harash of the carpenters and the whatever the masker is, the metal workers, I think, whatever. Anyway, and the way that that's interpreted classically is the Talmidei Chachamim, that the big Talmidei Chachamim were sent into exile. And you're saying this? You're saying that the greater Talmidei Chachamim are in Eretz Yisrael? So Rabbi Brachi b'shem Rabbi Chabot v'Rabbanan. It's a debate. Rabbi Brachi b'shem Rabbi Chabot Amar Hacharash Elef Amasker Elef, which doesn't answer our question. There was 1,000 of each of those groups. Rabbanan Amikulon Elef. No, the total number was 1,000. That's still not answering our question. Rabbi Brachi b'shem Rabbi Elu. Notice it's b'shem Rabbi. Okay. Elu hachaverim. So he actually says no. Those are the chaverim, meaning the Talmidei Chachamim. So that doesn't help our argument. But for Rabbanan Amrin, Elu habulbotin. Bulbotin is a Greek word. And it means basically the people of high status and the wealthy people. So it does not mean the Talmidei Chachamim. Pruzbo, right? Exactly. Pruzbo is from the same word. So those with wealthy and the people of the upper class were taken to Bavel, but no, not the Talmidei Chachamim. Or it doesn't mean all the Talmidei Chachamim. The Boshaya kind of a Mekabel mehadaya be'enei tav havi aminlon havi yodin kama edus sahadaya be'enei tav. When Rabbi Boshaya would accept testimony in Ein Tav for the new month, he would say to them, Amar lo, he would say to the witnesses. So now we're back to Kiddush HaChodesh. Havi yodin, you should know kama edus yotze mipichem. Know how impactful, how weighty the implications of your testimony is going to be. If you add an extra, even just adding one day to the month will have a lot of halachic implications. Okay, and one of the things he mentioned was monetary. For example, everybody that's rented a house for a month, right? Is it going to be a 29-day month or a 30-day month? What you say is, no, if I have it for January, and if I have it for Teves and they add a day, then I get an extra day. If I don't, they don't. So there's a lot of money is dependent on what you're about to just say right now. So be be very honest. Amar Rabbi Avuna. Now here's a classic Yerushalmi, which gets quoted in the Bavli and quoted in a lot of Rishonim. So this is very interesting. Now you don't have this in the Bavli. Amar Rabbi Avuna. He says, look, it's not just Dine Mamanis. Dine Nefashos is dependent on the testimony of the new moon. How is that possible? If a girl has entered into her, fourth year, so that means she's 3 years old in one day. She's past her, so she's basically well, I know she's entered into her 4th year. So then the act of sex with her, of intercourse, is halachically considered an act of intercourse. And so Bala Rabbi is skila. So if, let's say, God forbid, she was whatever. I mean, this is all terrible. This is all child abuse here, or whatever. But if if a relative or if her father had married her off, and the person therefore had an act of intercourse, it was considered an act of intercourse, and he'd be chayiv skila. Nimlechu based in la'abro uba'ala ena b'skila. But let's say they added an extra day to the month, or they could add an extra month to the year if she was born in Adar or whatever it was. So it wasn't yet Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So it wasn't yet her birthday because they added an extra Adar, or they added an extra day, and it wasn't yet her birthday because her birthday is, the 3rd of the month, and they thought it was the 2nd of the month, but because whatever, you got the idea that when you add a day, it hadn't yet been her birthday. Okay, so then the guy who now had intercourse with her was not chayiv skila. So that testimony of that one extra day of the month is going to have dinei nefashos, is going to depend on it. Okay, Amar Ravi Avin, now fine. That's not like a chiddush in the sense. I mean, that's just a legal reality. But now we're going to take it one step further. Amar Ravi Avin, Ekra Elohim Elyon. I will call to the supreme God, Le'el Gomer Alai, to the God who completes upon me. What does this mean, Gomer Alai? So what it means is we, the based in down here, make a decision, and God completes it. God implements it. How is that possible? So now it's not just going to be that what we do for the Kiddush HaChodesh creates a legal reality, was she considered to be 3 years old or 4 years old or whatever in her third year or 4th year, but it creates a physical reality. So here she was 3 years and 1 day. If they added a day to the previous month and it wasn't yet her birthday, then if her hymen would have been ruptured, it would have been restored. The rabbis believed that if a girl's hymen was torn under the age of 3, it would grow back. And if it was torn over the age of 3, it would not grow back. So they said, well, that would depend on whether Beis Din had decided she was 3 years old or not, and whether they had added a day to the month. That would affect the biological reality of her body. Okay, so the imlav ein betulim chozrim, and if not, it would not grow back. So here's the idea: not just that you create the calendar and that creates legal realities, but those also create biological realities. Okay, which is quite a metaphysical statement. All right, so I guess we did not get a chance to do the Bavli today. I guess we'll have to leave it to Shabbos, and then we'll probably be just caught up where we should be with the Bavli. But we will.